Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has bombed just 2 days after its release. The game only achieved just over 12,000 peak concurrent players on Steam. Does not look good for this game at all. Roll this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. I encourage you to head on over there, become a paid subscriber, help support us in fighting back against woke ideology that is infecting the video game industry and attempting to destroy it. We put a spotlight on the woke that is infecting the industry and work to root it out. So as you can see on the screen here, that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle only achieved 12,138 peak concurrent players in the last 24 hours. That is a day after the game released. It released on December 8th. Obviously, December 9 being yesterday is when it achieved that 12,138 all-time peak concurrent. The fact that it is not a lot higher, I think, indicates that it will have trouble getting to 50,000, let alone 100,000, which would indicate that this game is selling very well. So I know a lot of people will probably argue, well, it's doing good on Game Pass. Well, Game Pass isn't as expensive as the actual game. You get it for a lot less. And I doubt that people are playing it to the extent that you might think on Game Pass. You can look here at the Google Trends, compare this to Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Dragon Age: The Veilguard obviously hit a peak around October 31st when the game came out, and you can see that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle just kind of hit its peak yesterday, which we again saw was the same for the Steam numbers. And obviously it is still going up, but I doubt that it's going to go up to the extent to where Dragon Age: The Veilguard is. I expect it to probably maybe peak around where it is, maybe go a little bit higher, and then fall back down. And we know Dragon Age: The Veilguard was a total failure, given the fact that EA, BioWare, have been completely and utterly silent about the game sales, not answering questions about the game sales. In contrast, you see games like Space Marine 2, you see Farming Simulator actually talking about their sales and bragging about them. Obviously, Space Marine 2 hitting that 5 million unit mark, whereas Dragon Age: The Veilguard, complete and total silence. While the game is doing poorly, it's not because it's woke. Andy Pants Gaming said this: if you think about what myself and others do on these channels, we are begging companies to go back to normal video games, stop pushing political agendas, just tell classic stories, stop inserting 2024 politics. And I've got to give them credit. They gave us what we've been asking for. It's not much, but it's a start. I'm not going to call the Great Circle based, but it feels like a classic return to focus on fun in games, and there is barely a whiff of modern politics in the 24 hours that I've played. So that begs the question, why is the game not doing well? And I think there are a number of factors. I think the biggest one is that the IP has been maligned and tarnished by the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm, specifically in the recently released Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Remember, that movie came out just last year, and it has a middling IMDb score of just 6.5. Furthermore, pop culture critic Gary Beekler, aka Nerdrotic, made no bones about it in his review. He said this: our expectations were not subverted. Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm once again desecrated a beloved character, one that they just hadn't gotten around to yet. And yes, Indiana Jones was sacrificed on the altar of agenda to bolster another brunette British woman. So I think this is a significant factor as to why this game is not doing well at all. I think we've seen this in the past. And again, Lucasfilm, interestingly, is the example. You look at The Last Jedi. People hated it. What comes out next? Solo, a Star Wars story. And it completely and utterly bombs. And I think we're seeing something play out here. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. People did not like it. What comes out next in the Indiana Jones franchise? It is The Great Circle. And it's not doing well because Lucasfilm, the Walt Disney Company, have lost the trust of the fans, the Indiana Jones fans. They don't trust them to make a good Indiana Jones story anymore. They've been burned one too many times. Furthermore, we had Machine Games literally promoting the game with this guy here wearing a rainbow-themed Machine Games shirt. Obviously, don't think that is representing God's covenant with Noah, that he will not flood the world again. Instead, it is clearly promoting the disordered, degenerate, pride, sodomizing agenda. That is what that is doing here. And then the guy also is saying that the game is for a modern gaming audience. Huge, huge red flags. Usually indicates that a game is going to have the disordered, degenerate agenda stuffed into it. We've seen that over and over and over again. And then we also have this here, footage of the new female lead, Gina Lombardi, in their first gameplay reveal trailer. Shows her condescending Indiana Jones. Let's take a look at this.
It ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I...
So there you go. You see her just kind of condescending to Indiana Jones, a signal that, oh, great, here's another girl boss. And then we had this interview here with Lucasfilm Games' Craig Derrick. He described Gina Lombardi as Indiana Jones's intellectual equal. He said this in an interview with Lucasfilm.com. Gina is the perfect ally for Indy. She's endlessly curious, incredibly sharp, and has a personal stake in the journey. She not only challenges and assists the player, but also serves as an intellectual equal to Indy, bringing depth to the adventure. Gina adds a personal dimension to the story, making the journey about more than just finding another artifact from a museum. I believe players are really going to connect with her and root for her story. And there's also a part in this trailer where she's like literally saving Indiana Jones, pulling him by the back of his coat, like yanking him up like she's some kind of superhuman, which signaled that that was going to have that agenda in it. Andy Pants Gaming also notes the game is being made by Machine Games, which is a subsidiary of Microsoft, who has been pushing the woke agenda, and very aggressively so, throughout all of its subsidiaries, such as Compulsion Games, Activision Blizzard, Obsidian Entertainment, and Bethesda. He says, I don't recommend buying this. I would play it on Game Pass for $5 or whatever, so Microsoft makes as little money as possible. They are an incredibly racist company that is actively discriminating against white men right now. They have not fired Avowed developer Matt Hansen, who went on Twitter and boldly proclaimed that he is refusing to hire white people due to still working at the company. I think he is 100% right. I think this plays into it as well. And the fact that their whole brand is about being racist now, I think is extraordinarily damaging. And the fact that they don't take action against people like Matt Hansen, who are promoting that racist behavior at the subsidiaries that they work on. Furthermore, we know that Microsoft has a whole woke gaming framework that they had been working on internally with all of their subsidiaries, and they released it to the public earlier this year and are trying to get other people to embrace that framework to create more woke video games. That is who Microsoft and Xbox are, and Sony and Ubisoft and all these other companies are doing very similar things, but obviously Xbox, one of the major players in that space. Andy Pants Gaming also pointed to Melissa Boone being appointed the chief of staff of Halo Studios. As noted on Microsoft's website, Boone manages research across several Xbox franchises and experiences, including Ninja Theory, Compulsion Games, Double Fine Studios, and the Xbox Store. She also leads research in diversity, inclusion, and accessibility across Xbox's games and experiences, with a focus on making Xbox a place where everyone has fun. So they literally promoted a specialist in DEI to be the chief of staff at Halo, kind of making it clear that that is what this company is all about. So again, that goes back to the fact that people have been burned. They no longer trust Microsoft to make fun, good games. I think that does lead into why we're seeing so few people play this game. And then I think another big factor is the fact that the game, what the game actually is. And Andy Pants explains, if you really love Indiana Jones, want to play an interactive movie, can stomach the first-person perspective, and okay with a bit of walking simulator gameplay, this is the one for you. However, if you were hoping for loads of action, loads of guns, or an open world to explore, this is not the game for you. And I do think this plays a big role into it as well. I think there are obviously people who are interested in, I guess, playing a so-called interactive movie and engaging in walking simulator gameplay. But I think there are a lot of people that are like, no thanks, that's not a game. I'm not interested in playing that. Where is the gameplay? Where's the actual game? So I think that is also turning people away as well. So those are what I think are some of the big factors affecting why this game is not doing well. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact of how they signaled that the game was going to be woke in their marketing. Obviously, the lack of trust across the board, whether that is from Indiana Jones, the franchise, or from the people making it, Microsoft, etc. But let me know what you guys make of this game completely and utterly failing to launch out of the gate, only hitting 12,138 all-time peak concurrent players so far. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.